All right. So, good day, everyone. So we're going to, spend the next 1 hour to explore Tableau, right? So this is how the interface is when you have it downloaded. Of course, when you have downloaded and installed it. So on this side, you have the connect. So given that we're using Tableau public, there are limitations to some of the features we can use as regards connecting to different data sources, right? But for this Tableau public, we have you can import files that are Excel. You can import text related files like comma separated value, that's CSV. You can import JSON files. You can import your files from Microsoft Access, PDF, spatial data, data involving longitude, latitude, and even in different geographical regions, right? You can import those data here. And then statistical data, maybe you're using statistical softwares like Stata or other statistical software. You can import some of those data here as well. And you can connect to server. So OData. So once you click on OData, say for instance you work for an organization, and in your organization you have a particular server that some of the data you work with are stored there. You can read those data by imputing the URL to that server and authenticating maybe with the username or password, right? So of those server, and you connect. um, and then you also have more, right? You can connect data from Google Drive. You can do a web connector, but this is a little bit deprecated. So this web data connector is similar to what we did in our Power BI class, where we, pretty much scrape data online from different platforms, right? So this is a bit deprecated. And like I said, this is given that this is Tableau public, there are a lot of limitations. So if you maybe want to have access to more data server, feel free to upgrade. Or maybe you're working for a company that are interested in using different data server options, they can sorry so they can upgrade as well. Now, like I said, it's already assumed that you've already downloaded the data from the World Health Organization website, right? The link to that is on the e-learning portal. So, and those data are CSV files. So just click on uh, text file, right? And then navigate to where that data is on your system. So for me, I have a couple of data here. I have the vaccination data, I have the metadata for it, I have the COVID-19 global data, right? And these two are similar, so I'll just go ahead and click on this. So once you've clicked on this, you have on the bottom left, right, that's my left here, you have what we call data source. So once you have imported a particular data, or once you've connected to a particular data source, everything is going to be displayed here. So on this side, you see that you have the data source, and at the top you have list of other data that are in that your working directory, that are in that folder where you call those data, or where you imported the initial data. At the top, you see the data that you've connected to. So feel free to add more data. So you can add more connector, add more text file from Microsoft Excel, and so on and so forth, right? And then on this other side, you see like a brief overview of your data, right? So starting with the data name, you have list of rows in your data. So this is a total of 100 rows. So feel free to indicate how many you want to see, right? So these are some of the features in our data. Date reported, you have the code, the country code, you have the country, you have the region, you have the number of new cases, and so on and so forth. So the idea is for us to perform a robust data visualization and dashboard on some of these data, right? And if you feel that having a single data is not enough for what you want to do or for you to create your dashboard, you can you know drag and drop a new or another data set on this particular pane here. So for instance, if you want to create a dashboard using the COVID-19 global data and also the vaccination data, all we have to do is to drag this and drop here. So but the thing is that okay, so um, once you have drag and drop this particular data, you see that automatically you have like an error indicates on here, showing that you need to specify like the relationship between this particular data and the new one. So of course, based on your um, database class, you already know that tables can be related in different ways, right? You can have maybe one-to-many relationship, meaning that one particular column from that data is related to many columns in the other data. You can have many-to-many relationship, or you can have, you know, uh, one-to-many relationship, and so on and so forth, or many to one relationship as well. So here you can specify the columns that are related to each other. So here we can select a particular column being date, right? And we select another column here being date updated as well. So we are saying that these two dates are related, so we kind of join them, right? So we express the relationship as you know this date is equal to this one. However, this operator is not carved on stone, so feel free to uh, you know study your data a little bit more and then identify which particular operator or operation is suitable for you establishing a relationship between two data sets. So if it is equal to, is it going to be less than, greater than, okay, or is it less than, and so on and so forth. So once you've established this, right, and you're okay with what you have, so the next thing is to move on to creating your first visualization. So uh, on this bottom options or bottom buttons, if you hover over this first one, that's after you have what we call sheet 1, right? You have to create a new worksheet, you have option to create a new dashboard and to create a story, right? Now once you imported your data for the first time and you've established all the necessary relationship, automatically Tableau creates your initial sheet for you. So you can see here a pop-ups telling you to go to worksheets. So if you click on this worksheet, right, it shows you this. So this is where you perform your visualizations. So the first thing to note here is that on the top hand side you have options to go navigate to different places. So for file, for instance, you can open a new Tableau file, or you can paste something, you can manage your profile, you can even exit this particular option or this particular project you're working on. You also have the option to connect to a new data, right, or to see what data you're currently working on. You can refresh if your data is updated in real time. You can export your data, whichever one of them, maybe the vaccination data or the COVID-19 data. You can see the date properties, You can edit data source filter, like you're interested in filtering some certain aspect of your data and so on and so forth. So on the worksheet, right, you can customize this as you deem fit, right? So usually in your worksheet you have to show title. That's why you see sheet 1 here as your title. So you can also include things like show summary, show cards, and so on and so forth. So feel free to explore all these options as well. Now we haven't created dashboard yet, so we're not going to dive into this for now. We'll come back to it later. So we have story, which we'll come back to later as well, and then we have analysis. So you can perform different analysis on your data. So for instance, you can aggregate the measures. I will explain what measures are and dimensions in few seconds. So you can stack, you can explain your data, you can calculate percentage of a particular row or column, right? You can calculate the total. You can do so many things here. So we'll come to analysis soon. Then you have map, so background map. So you need to specify the background color. Is it going to be light? Is it normal? Is it dark? Do you want your your map to have an image? How do you customize it and so on? So all this can be found here. So you have format, and then you have server and windows. So these are all possible buttons you can explore as you move on. Okay, so now we also have, like I said, quick buttons. So you can connect to new data source. Just quickly click on this and then select the data source you want to connect to. You can click on this one to create a new worksheet, right? You can duplicate a worksheet and so on. So you can also customize the how you want the canvas to be. Do you want it to fit to width once you've created it? Do you want to fit to height? Do you want to have it as an entire view or just a standard version? So again, feel free to play around with this. Okay, so here you can specify whether you want to hide your cards. So the cards I'm going to show you soon, right? And here you can specify if you want to have this in presentation mode. Okay, so on this side where you have show me, so you have a list of different visuals or different visualizations that you can perform in Tableau. So for instance, you can create a text table, and you're having the pop-up for the requirement for it. So for you to create a text table, you need one or more dimensions, which I will explain soon, and one or more measures. So this one is a heat map. So we've seen heat map at least briefly when we did things like building machine learning models, where you have to create a confusion matrix for investigating how effective or the accuracy of those models. So we can create a heat map to replicate that confusion matrix. So for you to create a heat map in Tableau, we need again one or more dimensions and one or two measures. So we have highlight table, we have maps. Okay, so we have two different visuals for map. So we have the symbol map, and we have the proper map, that's the map itself. And then we have a pie chart, we have different bar charts, whether horizontal or stacked, or side by side bar. So we have tree map, we have circle view. So again, feel free to explore some of these things. The important thing is to have the proper understanding of how some of these things work, and you can replicate some of them for as many projects as you want. Okay, so I'm going to minimize this by clicking on show me. Now once you've imported the data, on the left hand side of the sheet, you have the title table or tables, right? And in the tables you have all the columns that are available in your data. Now, the interesting thing about this, or how Tableau designed this, is that categorical variables or non-numeric variables are differentiated from the numeric ones. Okay, so the non-numeric variables, which includes the dates, right? The country. So the country is a geographical region. So you have countries like United States, you have countries like Nigeria, and so on. These are non-numeric variables or numeric values, right? So you have them on this side. Okay. Now the collection of these non-numeric variables, we call them dimensions. So uh, like I said, or like you saw when we hover over a particular visual, it tells you that this particular visualization requires a dimension or a measure. So we call the dimensions the non-numeric variables, or we call them the categorical variables. Okay, so things like the data source, things like the date updated, okay, and so on and so forth, right? So feel free to also click on this to perform a little bit more overview of it. So for instance, you can create a calculated field out of a particular column, right? You can transform, that's you can split, right? You can change the data type from a string to date to numbers, right? You can change the property, the geographical role, the image. So if someone, do you want to assign a URL to a particular column and so on and so forth, you can also group, right? So but just know that all these categorical variables, we call them dimensions in Tableau. And the numeric ones, right, you can always see them. They are denoted with, they always start with a hashtag, right? These are numeric columns in your data. So we call these measures, okay? So again, feel free to explore some of these things. Okay, so you can describe, for instance. So if you describe this, you can see, okay, the row is a continuous measure, the type, the status, and so on and so forth. This might not really be, you know, necessary for now, but we'll come to the use later. So here are the dimensions, and here are the measures. So again, the same goes for the other data. So here you have the list of dimensions and then the list of measure, and at the end you see what we call a calculated measure. So once you've uploaded your data, and some of your data columns include geographical locations, so Tableau automatically calculates the longitude and latitude based on those, or on the name of those countries. So for instance, in your data you have countries like United States, Nigeria, Ghana, and the rest. So you upload them as a text, as a categorical variable, but automatically Tableau recognizes that some of these columns or some of these data values are geographical locations, and is able to generate the accurate longitude and latitude for each of those locations. Okay. Now that we're clear with this, on this side you have pages. So we're going to see pages as we move on, so you can navigate from one page to another, right? Here you have filters, right? So you want to filter some of the things you want to be shown, or some of the things you want to be displayed on your canvas. So you can do that here. On this side, which is called marks, right? So you can specify the different customization for your visualization. So for instance, do you want to denote different options in your visualization by color? Do you want it to be in terms of size? Do you want to have the name attached to each of the visuals? Do you want it to be detailed? So these are more or less like customization, some of the things you can do, right? So here where you have automatic, so automatic meaning that you have text, okay? So but you can change it as you deem fit. You can change it to bar, to map, to even Gantt chart. So we'll come to this. Now, on this side, to perform a visualization on Tableau, you need to specify what the rows and columns are going to be, right? So, or you can just drag and drop your data point here, and then you can customize it later. So let's start without wasting so much time. So we're going to start with the, let's start with the COVID-19 global data. So I'm going to start by visualizing the country. So I'll just drag this all the way to the canvas, and then you can see automatically Tableau generated the longitude and latitude for it, and then denoted some of these countries. So if you hover over this point, you see that they denote different countries in our data. So let's click on show me. Say I don't want this particular visualization, I want this one, so I'll just click on this, and then I have my visual. Now, one thing you have to also see is that on the mark options, you see that this particular visual is denoted as detail here. Okay, so for instance, you can add more mark and then customize your visualization more. So for instance, I can drag this country all the way to mark and change it from here. So I just click on this point, change it to color. That means each country will have their different colors, right? Or I can change this to text or label. So that means I'll have the names of the countries attached to it. Okay. Now, another thing I want to do is to show you how to do filtering. So you can copy or you can drag the country all the way to this point, all the way to filter. So let's drag it. Why is it not showing? Okay, so once you drag it to filter, you can filter some of the countries you're interested in having in your visuals. So say for instance, I'm interested in just having African countries, so I will exclude everything except African countries. So I'll just to have less cluster on my visualization. So we have Burkina Faso, we have Botswana, we have Benin. So let's move on. We have we have Congo. We have we have Cote d'Ivoire. We have Egypt. We have Equatorial Guinea. We have Ethiopia. We have Gabon. We have Gambia. We have Ghana. So let's just quickly finish this. Guinea-Bissau. We have Kenya. So yeah, feel free to Libya, Malawi. We have Mali. We have Namibia. We have Nigeria. So I obviously I might have missed out on a couple of countries, but the important thing is that you know how these are done. Okay, so we have Rwanda. So I'm going to stick with this for now, and maybe during your practice you can, you know. So once you're done, just click on apply and then click on OK, and you have a list of countries that we're willing to work with. Okay. Now, now this is kind of a so there is no much information in this particular data, so we can customize this a little bit further depending on what we want to do. So for instance, we might want to see the cumulative cases or the cumulative deaths when it comes to COVID-19 per country. So we just drag the cumulative deaths all the way to this point, okay, and then we change it to label. So you can see you have all the cumulative deaths for all these countries, right? Now you can also um, attach more data. So persons that are fully vaccinated, for instance, you can also drag and drop those ones. So persons that are fully vaccinated for some of these countries, again you just put the label. So you can see if you hover over this point, you see that the name of this country is Equatorial Guinea. The cumulative death as far as COVID-19 is concerned is this number, and the persons that are fully vaccinated in that country is this number. Okay, so this is it for when it comes to map. Okay, so once you're done and you're happy with your particular visualization or the particular visual on a worksheet, feel free to change the name of that worksheet. So we can call this COVID map for Africa. So COVID map for Africa. Again, feel free to explore some of these options. So if you want it to be Tauma, you want to increase the font size from 15 to 20, you want to change the font color from black to green, so feel free to do that, and then click OK to customize this. So once you're done with this particular visual, you can create a new sheet, okay, and then start creating a different visual. So for instance, let's say we want to see the number of deaths or cumulative cases based on the dates. So all I have to do on the dates reported, so I'll just drag this all the way to the column, dates reported to column, right, and then the cumulative cases, I'll just drag it all the way to the row, right. Now again, these things are not carved on stone, so you have to explore some of the features that are available in Tableau for you to build more experiences. So for instance, if you go to the column part and then you click on this drop down, so you can customize the column as you deem fit. So you can let it be year, right, you can change this to quarter, you can change it to month, more. So for instance, here is year. So if I want it to be month and I want it to be in this format, I'll just click on this and you can see how the trend goes, right. And then for the rows, you can also denote the measure, how you want it to be. Do you want it to be sum? Do you want it to be average, median? Do you want it to be count, and so on and so forth? So you can also explore these options. On the bottom, on the x-axis, you can see that you have the month and so on and so forth. So but for you to see the values that are attached to all these things, you need to hover over the plot itself. So to avoid that, you can create more markers for it. So want to see the numbers for the number of cases, or we want to see the number of cases and also the number of deaths. So let's drag this, sorry, paste it here, change this to label, so you see the numbers, and then we can drag the number of deaths to this place as well, and then change it to this, and then we see the numbers. So if you hover over this, you see the date reported, the number of cumulative cases, and the number of deaths, or the cumulative death as well. So if you feel that this is a little bit clustered, again you can customize this however you deem fit. So you can make it bigger, you can just specify the path, you can let it be color, right, and then just see the color ranging from this to this, or you can just remove this and then be left with the number of cumulative deaths. So once you hover over this, again you see the number of cumulative cases, the date reported, and the number of cumulative deaths. Okay, so like I said, feel free to customize this and play around on all these things as you deem fit. So if you click on this, you see like a pop-up. Like if you click on the y-axis, you see a pop-up that shows you kind of a summary of your data. So for instance, you have, or a summary of the visualization you've made. So for instance, you have the months reported, the cumulative cases, and the cumulative deaths. So if you want to just have like a pictorial view of your data, so that is one way to go about it. So you visualize 37 rows as far as this goes, and 3 fields. So okay, so the same goes for this as well. So this also shows you that visualizations, or the data that you visualized. So once you're done with this and you're happy, or even though you're not happy and you want to see the different plots that are available, you can see some of the plots that are activated. So you can see, you can change it to table, you can do this as heat map, pie chart, and so many others, as far as the conditions are met. So because the conditions are that you must have at least one dimension and measures. So here we have one dimension and two measures. Okay. All right. So at this point, of course, no one can ask questions because I'm just doing this on my own. But feel free to reach out if you have any challenges at all. So you can also play around with some of these options here. So change it to bar, you can change it to a line chart like we did before, change it to an area chart, change it to a square, change this to circle, you can make it as shape, right, to text, so which is rough, you can change it to pie chart, but this is strange because this isn't a pie chart, so change it to a Gantt chart, okay, polygon or density. So feel free to explore all the possible options you can you have, and then settle with the particular visual that you feel is good for you, right? So now once you're done with this, again you customize this by changing the title of the plot. So maybe we can call this reported cases, and that by month. Okay, so once you've done okay to apply this, and then you can click on another worksheet to create more, right? So for instance, you want to create more, you want to create a table. So for instance, we want the table to be to consist of uh, maybe let's see if we can join this together. So let the table be, the columns be dates, uh, dates reported. So and then we want the, want to have the cumulative depth. So again, it's not compulsory that you must know which should be where, whether years should be in the column or row, right? So you can just switch them, just do them as roughly as you feel like it's necessary, and then when you start choosing a particular visualization, it selects based on what you've already dropped. So this is what I mean. If I drag all the cumulative cases to here, drag all the cumulative deaths to here, uh, if I drag again the persons that are fully vaccinated to this place, sorry, right? So in my visualization, I can choose how I want it to be. So for instance, if I click on this table, you can see automatically it rearranges this, and then customizes this particular aspect for me. So here we have the date reported from 2020 to 2023. I have the cumulative cases in 2020 to be this number, in 2021 to be this number, the number of fully vaccinated to be this number, and so on and so forth. And I can also choose other data options, right? So maybe this, right? Maybe this particular line chart, or this area chart, or this whisker chart or bus plot. So but this is what I really wanted to do. I wanted to create a table for some of this data points or this data column. Okay, so again you can customize this table for COVID COVID cases. So just change this, change the color to this, and then okay. So we have this. Again, you can create a filter for it. So what do you want to show in your filter? Do you want to edit the filter? So what do you want to be? So do you want the filter to include new cases, the deaths, and so on and so forth? So feel free to customize this as well, and then click OK to do it. Okay, so based on what we've done so far, we've managed to understand the data sources, know how to connect two data together by establishing a relationship between them. We've seen how to create a map, or a basic map for that matter, right? We've seen how to filter some of the map to select what we want. We've seen how to use these markers, right, to attach features to our map. We've seen how to create a line chart, and this line chart can be customized into different type of charts. We've seen also how to use table, right, in your, or how to create table in Tableau. So all you have to do is to, you know, drag and drop whatever data column you want to work with, and then it automatically activates different plots that you can use. So once you click on that plot, it rearranges each of the data points itself. So for instance, it automatically assigns columns to itself and assigns row to itself. Again, you can customize this if you want this to be in terms of months. So you can have a bigger, what's it called, a bigger uh, column, right? If you want it to be in terms of quarter, so you have 2020 the first quarter, 2020 second quarter, right? Or you just want it to be in terms of year, and then you have it. So this is shorter, and you can, okay, try out other options as well. So this, so these are just the starting point for our visualization. um, Once you're done, visualizing different data points, which I encourage you to, try out different data points. So try visualizing different columns in your data, and then see how it looks, and then explore some of these options to see how you can better customize it as well. So, but once you're done with this, the next thing you want to do is to create a dashboard based on all the visualizations you've made. So if you look at sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, you can create new worksheet, or you just click on new dashboard. So once you click on new dashboard, you have, this particular dashboard. On the left hand side, you have the default layer. So this is how the default looks like. You have the phone. So if you want to create a dashboard for your phone, so you can customize it for that, to that regard. You can, preview your device if you want. So but if you click on default, you can also customize the size, right? So by establishing the range. So in our case, we want it to be a fixed size, or you want it to be automatic, which is to fit to the screen, right? Now, once you've established the size, on the just directly below your size, you have the list of visualizations you've made in those worksheets that we've created so far. So we have sheet 1, sheet 2, and sheet 3. And then here we have objects, right? In object, you establish how you want to, design your visualization. Do you want it to have like a horizontal container? So for instance, if you drag this to this point, you can, make customize a particular visualization on this container. So if you click on this, you can make it floating so that you can minimize it and enlarge it as you deem fit. So all you have to do once you're done with this is to, drag and drop a particular visualization, e.g. So you can drag and drop this here, and then you see your plots. Okay. Or you can have a vertical container. So again, just click on this drop down, change this to floating, so you can customize the size, and again you can drag whatever visualization you want, and then you have it in this format. Okay. So, or you can cluster everything together. So you have text, so you can write text here. So introduction to Tableau. So you can change this to a different font, change it to a different font size, change it to a different color, and then click OK. So again, you can make this floating if you want, and then you can customize this however you deem fit. You can drag it to any point in your dashboard. Okay, so you have extensions. So you have, so this, we are not going to explore this for now. Okay, so we'll explore it much later. We have ask question of your data. So if you have your data and then you want to create summaries, or you want to ask specific questions of the data you've visualized, you can do that here, similar to what we did on Power BI. Okay, so you can import images, right? So you can choose from your system. So maybe World Health Organization data, you can fit to center, you can just customize it, or you just okay, and then make this floating as well. So you can make it smaller or bigger as the case may be. Okay. Alright, so once you are familiar with all these things, right? So once you are familiar with all these things, you have to start creating your visualization. Okay, so you have workflow, you have blank, and there are other many options which we are going to explore with time. Okay, so if you want to create more dashboards, feel free to create it as well. So another thing which I kind of omitted from the previous one is that you can automatically create a title for your dashboard. Okay, so click on this uh, show title or show dashboard title, and you can customize this by double clicking. You can say WHO COVID-19 dashboard. Again, feel free to customize this. Make this, and then sorry, we have to change the size to fix, sorry, to automatic, so we can fit to screen. And then we can center this, right? We can center this by just clicking on the align to center, and then click OK, and then you see that our title is well visualized, is well displayed here. So the next thing I want to do is to maybe import an image. So just drag and drop, choose World Health Organization, OK, and then make this floating, and then make it a bit smaller, just close to this place. Okay, now the next thing I want to do is to import some of my visualization. Again, this is the idea of this class is not to create an end-to-end visualization, just to show you how things are done, and then in your practice time you can explore different options and then beautify it as you deem fit. So we always have to take time into consideration. So I'll drag sheet 1 to this place, and then again make it floating, and then just drag it down, expand on this a little bit, expand on this a bit, and then zoom it in. So feel free to beautify this more. So let's see, zoom out. Okay, so this is what I have. Then I can drag this to this place, make it floating, expand on it a bit, drag it to this point. Okay, again, this isn't really perfect, but the idea is, you know, to have all the all the necessary information you have for now. Then you can customize later. So you can customize using the horizontal or vertical container, so that will save you enough time instead of having to, you know, be minimizing and so on and so forth. So let's take this up. So the next, let's just um, align this to center. Okay. So the next thing I want to do is now to drag sheet 3 to this point and then make it floating, and, you know, expand on it a bit, drag it all the way to this point. Okay. So this. Okay. So you can have as many visualization as you want in a particular dashboard. You just have to customize it properly. So let me align this again to center. Okay. Now, once you have created uh, your dashboard, right, the next thing you want to do is to create a story, but we're not going to go into story for now. So you can create a story based on your visualizations and on your dashboard, but we'll come to that much later. So let's go back to dashboard. So once you are happy with this, the next thing you want to do is to save. But in saving uh, your Power BI application, you have to take note that this, you're using a Power BI public, sorry, a Tableau public, and you don't save on your local system. Everything is going to be saved on your Tableau accounts online. So you have to provide, so once you've downloaded Tableau public, you create an account with them, right? So let me see if I can log into that one at the moment. So here we have Tableau public. So we can, you know, sign in. So you sign in with your username and password. Hope I still remember my password. Hmm. Okay, got it. So here you have in your account, that's my profile, you have your visualizations, like all the visualizations you've made. You have your favorite, following, and the rest. So this account is created strictly for this class. So feel free to, you know, take advantage and also create as much portfolio as you can. So if you go to Tableau public, for instance, you see different visualization that have been created by different people. Sometimes it might look intimidating, but, you know, you don't have to be intimidated. So to get good value from Tableau, right, to create some of these dynamic dashboards, you have to go beyond just Tableau. So you have to make use of Figma. So I'll be sharing with you some tutorial or some links to different resources you can use to, you know, add to what you already know in Tableau, or what you're going to learn in Tableau, to create more robust visualization for, whether for your use or for an organization. Okay. So once you've signed into your Tableau public, you go back to your Tableau desktop, and then you click on save. That's Control S. Sorry. Let's see if we have. Okay. So Control S, and then it shows you. It's going to give you the option to sign in. So I don't know why this is. Okay. So here you are going to sign in using your username and password. That's the username and password you created Tableau public with. So mine is pau.edu.ng, and then my password. Okay. So you're going to, once you've signed in successfully, you're going to see the option to specify what you want to save your workbook as in Tableau public. So in this case, we can say class demo, and then click on save, and then it's going to start publishing your view. So it tells you preparing view 5 to 6. So we have 6 views here: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Although 2 of them are empty. So once it has saved, automatically updates on your Tableau public, and you can see your visualization. So again, here it's also pretty much dynamic, and you can edit it on the web. So you can edit your visualization by clicking on edit, and you have all the options that are available on the desktop here as well. So you can customize this a little bit more. So you can go to your sheet 1, for instance, and customize this, and once you've done, you can click on publish to update your online visual. Okay, so these are very interesting options that I want all of you to try out, so we can see how far you've come in our next class. Like I said, I don't want to have this video extend too much, so it's already 53 minutes, which is okay for a start. So you can go through this video, and we continue from our next class. Thank you very much, and have a good day.